Something I try to talk about a little bit when balancing the game is the idea that not every weapon should be balanced for competitive play. Some weapons just shouldn't be that good. You can buff them a little bit so they don't feel terrible, obviously. You don't want non-competitive players to pick a weapon and think that it can't do anything. That's why balance changes matter for everybody. But you know, some weapons just aren't built for competitive play. They're built for other things, and Splattershot Jr. is the best example of this. It serves an incredibly important role in the series that it's had for all 3 games, which is introduce new players to the game easily, which is really important, especially when players are new to shooter games. Introducing them to the mechanics is really difficult, and Splatoon already does a really good job with that. The base mode of Turf War allows you to paint the floor even if you're not going after other players, which makes it easy for new players to contribute to the game. And Junior is built for people trying this game out for the first time. You got this wide spread of shots so that it paints the floor really easily and it can hit opponents even if you have some bad aim. You have a ridiculous amount of ink efficiency so that you don't have to recover ink as much. You got this larger ink tank that we took away the visual for some reason. I don't know, I thought it looked cool, but we didn't want a visual indicator for the larger ink tank. We just expect people to know that. I don't know. Can we bring this back? Like, I missed this. Anyway, tangent over. We have this bottle for Junior so that you can throw more bombs without running out of ink. You got the cheap special points on the weapon, just 180p. You get your special really often, and the special's really simple. Press the right stick and you either chain HP to your team, or put a giant bubble shield up. If I were to look at Junior only as this function of being there for beginner players, 10 out of 10. We did a perfect job, guys. 100%. Amazing work. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Junior gets balance changes to try to make it really good. Like, look at the most recent balance change for it, for example. 6% strafe speed increase. Nobody picking up the game for the first time is gonna care. Like, it even got an ink efficiency increase, even though we just gave it a larger ink tank, and it had the best ink efficiency in the game. The ink efficiency of Junior is such an overtuned stat, it's funny. And all these traits I talked about that were really cool for Junior when it was for the beginner players are horrible when we're trying to make it good for the competitive players. You want a weapon that paints a lot, spams a lot of double bomb, gets like 10 of these protection specials and matches for its team, and like would prefer to probably never look the opponent in the eye if it could get away with it. I don't think that's a great weapon for the game. And look, Splatoon 3's incarnation of Junior is not the worst thing ever for competitive play. We're in a fighting-based meta, so it kinda actually does have to walk forward and try to shoot at people, which means it's not playing to the bomb spam that badly, and Bubble is an annoying special that shouldn't be good, but hey, it's not chainable HP like the other 2 were. And the long cooldown between uses, especially if you place Bubble badly, means you're not spamming too much of it, despite 180p. So it's not that bad. I play Junior a little bit and it's fun, but I just don't think it needs to be good competitively. But what about all the people who like playing Junior competitively? We can't just remove short-range spray shooters for the game. They gotta have something. Well, that's why I think the Aros Spray is such a perfect weapon to have in the game with it. I mean, this weapon is so incredibly similar to Junior. It has the same kind of spray pattern, 1 extra shot to kill, and gets a lot of special weapons. But this one has worse ink efficiency, it doesn't have a larger ink tank, it has a higher points for special, so, you know, it has a little bit more skill required. It probably has to interact a bit more. This is an archetype we could mold to be better for competitive play, so that everybody who liked Junior when they picked up the game can play this weapon in competitive. Except we didn't do that. We're buffing it in the same way as we did Junior. We're gonna take away the higher points for special, make the ink efficiency even better actually, and buff the paint that was already good for some reason. And then do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and an 8th time just to be safe. Why? Because the fate of Aros Spray is, guys, look how many specials I got this match. I got like 15 Booyah Bombs, lol, isn't that funny? And that's been its fate for 3 games. It either spams Ink Strike, Booyah Bomb again, or Reef Slider Cheese on Splat Zones. Oh joy. I really like the idea for Aros Spray. Like, hitting 5 shots in a row that fast just sounds really satisfying, and I think the weapon has a super unique design. I just think it's slowly becoming more and more similar to Junior, and like, think about it. If we took the gold Aros Spray Sprinkler Booyah Bomb kit and put it on a 3rd Junior kit, would you even really lose anything? You'd get more Booyah Bombs for sure, and the weapon would be better, and it wouldn't really feel any different. So like, Aros Spray is really only different because it has these different special spammy kits. I just think that's a poor identity. I think a version of Aros Spray that was more difficult to use but had some more benefit to it to kind of transfer spray shooters to a more advanced archetype could have been really cool. For example, nerf the paint a little bit but buff the fire rate by 1 frame. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a 5-shot kill. That's 4 frame kill time increase. That way Aros Spray basically paints the same, but it fires even faster, so its kill time is a bit better. You can make it spread just a little bit tighter as well, and give the weapon a bit worse ink efficiency or higher points for special to compensate. And give it a more flexible kit, like Torpedo and Inkjet. That can still be used to support its team, but also comes with a bit more selfish utility, so players mastering the weapon can use Torp to help with the kill time, or learn a special like Inkjet that obviously gets a lot better as you improve at it. While now harder than Junior due to the ink efficiency and special output changes, this is a weapon that can do a lot more while still feeling very similar to the current version of Aros Spray. It's those kind of small changes that I think would give it a more unique identity. And hey, it got multiple kits anyway. If you want to have your Aros Spray with Sprinkler Booyah, you could still keep it and it could still largely do the same thing. You just get a few less Booyah Bombs a game. However, that kind of Aros Spray rework obviously doesn't exist. However, Splatoon 3 did introduce a new kind of spray shooter, the Splattershot Nova, which a lot of people thought were the replacement for Dual Squelcher, but nope, this is actually just long Aros Spray. It's another 5-shot kill, but the fire rate is a little bit slower and you have a little bit more range. Now we have arguably one of the worst feeling main weapons in the entire game, because giving this weapon more range is a really extreme idea. Like, the lack of range is the thing that balances Junior and Aros Spray. They still paint really well, but they have to be in the area they're painting in, which means all the better fighting weapons in the game can try to pick fights with them to move them away. But now Nova can sit a much safer distance away and paint the entire map. So to balance that, the kill time has to feel awful, the RNG of the weapon has to feel awful, and the DPS of the weapon has to feel extra awful, because otherwise the weapon would just be way too good and way too annoying. At least the Nova kits were a little bit better. Like, the first one has 2 options that don't add paint to the field, so it's not getting like 3k a game, I guess, and the second one is an Inkjet spammer, which Inkjet is probably one of the healthier specials in the game, so it being spammed too much isn't that big a deal. But still, this weapon just feels kind of bland, and like Aros Spray, it's really easy to imagine this being a different type of weapon. When Splatoon NA originally posted about it, it was said that this weapon has a unique mechanic, the fact that it doesn't actually have shots that spread out over time. For those who don't know, this is a mechanic that shooters have. As you shoot, the weapons get more and more inaccurate, making it worse and worse. Nova not having that mechanic would allow it to continuously fire more often, which naturally fits a weapon that wants to be painting without going into ink as often. Except, well, 1, Nova's RNG is already so ungodly awful that this wouldn't really matter that much anyway, and 2, that's a lie, that mechanic wasn't in the game. It does make me think if Nova was originally intended to be a little bit different than it is now though. I think it'd be really easy to build around that too and also make it more similar to Dual Squelcher from S1, which I know a lot of people miss. What if the weapon strafed a little bit faster, had a much tighter spread, and the spread didn't spread out over time? It'd still be a 5-shot, but then you could reliably be painting the map and also take fights with people without having to go into squid form and stop painting. That would be kind of unique, and you could always just keep the spread the same as it is now when jumping for better painting. Just this small set of changes gives Nova a little bit more depth to use, makes it more unique from other shooters, and mitigates the main issue people have with the weapon being its horrible kill time without losing its identity as a 5-shot. Overall, I think there's missed potential with these weapons. Junior is being pushed in an area it doesn't need to be, Aros Spray is becoming more and more similar to Junior, and I think there's a bit more interesting of an idea they could have done with Nova. Regardless though, shooters in general are critiqued for having an issue of being too similar to each other, which I actually disagree with for most of them. However, when it comes to the spray shooters, I can't deny that this becomes a real problem there, and I hope Splatoon 4 will make them a little bit more different while adding to their playstyles to make them more fun to use. Let me know what you think of these weapons in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.